All right. How's everybody doing? It's been a while since we got back on Path of Exile, and I ran into a technical difficulty just as I was about to, start the recording. To resolve it, you open your window capture properties and change the capture method to Windows 10 as you see on the screen. But in any case, I did not play during the Mirage League. I hopped back on this league because I want to check out the colorless sockets for the gems and stuff. And I think giving gem like 10% quality from putting it in the correct socket is going to open up a lot more optimization while not taking away the fun for casual players. And as you can see, I'm playing the retirement build, which is just RF. If you're not familiar with Path of Exile, RF means Righteous Fire. That is the skill I am casting. Normally, Righteous Fire will drain your health down very quickly, but RF build has been around in the community for so long that people have dedicated sites to optimize it. And there's well-known researchers, I guess that's the right way to call them at this point. Researchers that, take their time to fine-tune settings and look for the most like tanky and damage oriented builds. Now, this build, I will say, is quite fun. I never really played it because, I wanted to try other things before I get to this point. My impression of this build is just, wow, I could turn my brain off and chill. I fucking love it. The downside being the single target damage on like bosses and stuff is quite low. It's probably some optimizing that I gotta do. My gears are not the most leveled right now. Like the item levels are quite below and subpar. This is not a completed build. I haven't even finished chapter or act 10 yet. But yeah, what's the point I was trying to make? Oh yeah, the single target thing. So single target, it really struggles to deal proper amount of damage. For me, since I'm new to RF, I can't really gauge like the distance of this circle that well. I die to bosses quite frequently because I just don't know how to walk away in time. And I don't know if I'm like close enough to set the bosses on fire. I do notice playing this build, I get a lot more like currencies to drop. It might just be that this league, the loot got buffed. There is a lot of these interactables lying around on the map where you just click once and it drops like free currencies and loot. That could be part of the reason why I feel like this is more profitable compared to other builds. It also is a very fast leveling build, since you kill every enemy that gets close to you. Unlike other builds where you might miss out killing an enemy or two, this one, as long as you're in the vicinity, enemies will die. Semi-related to like the bossing thing, I tried tackling the Merciless Labyrinth like 3 times and I died each time. That could be the fact that I am not maxing out my chaos resistance. I'm not sure though, because like it was an insta kill and I don't know if that's like something I need to just watch out for or if I actually fucked up on some aspect of my build. If you're interested in doing the same build, I'll put the link to the build in the description below. It's made by a well-known person in the community. While playing this build, I died about 26 times, give or take. That's purely because I play like doo-doo and I legit have not played League I legit have not played Path of Exile in a while. So your experience might vary. I would say it's probably way better than my death count. I guess I could also quickly talk about like the challenges of this build while you're leveling and whatnot. The biggest challenge is definitely making sure that you're not over leveling your gems. Like such as right now, I have 143 dexterity. I could afford to level this gem, this dexterity gem and this intel gem. But while you're going through the acts, you should pay attention to that. If you over level, you eventually run into an issue of not being able to take off your armor that gives you extra intelligence and dexterity. So you soft lock yourself from progression. I would say give yourself like a 10 status point wiggle room. So let's say your intelligence attribute is 140 points and the next level of the gem will require 135 intelligence point. Now you're intruding upon the 10-point buffer zone you've set. In that case, you will like leave the gem unleveled. Honestly, I would say even a 20-point attribute buffer zone is appropriate because a lot of these equipments, they give you like plus 23 intelligence, plus 24 intelligence. Just keep an eye on that and don't over level something that you cannot have. I got sidetracked by PoE just now, but I want to get into the main topic of the video, which is about a anime I've been watching. 2 by the same author. First one being Rampart of Ice. Rampart of Ice has a very lively cast that makes me feel very bubbly inside. I don't know about like everyone else, but these characters to me feel very detailed, relatable, and realistic. I noticed in this author's work that the characters are very modern. The topics they talk about, the way they act, their vocabulary is very modern compared to other animes. This might be one of the few cases why I would recommend someone watching in dub so they don't get visually overstimulated by all the subtitles and stuff. A lot of the cutaway gags are loaded with text. The sites I'm using, they don't do the subtitles justice. They have a lot of text just floating all over the place, blocking each other. That makes like the anime really hard to immerse. But despite all of that, I still like it. I think it's worth a watch. So let me give you guys the plot for Rampart of Ice. It's about this high school girl who appears very standoffish and cold. The reason why she acts this way is because she had a traumatic experience in middle school. Our supporting characters initially are not familiar with her backstory except for one person. This person is a female friend. She has been with our main character since middle school, but for some reason, she kept the friend group kind of separate. And the entire premise of the show is just watching these two groups like collide and fuse together and everybody getting comfortable with each other. It's a very healing anime. In both of this author's work, there's always like one side character that's very jaded and also very skeptical. There's another word I'm thinking of, but I can't like find it right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. I resonate with that character because it has a very similar thought process to me. Like, oh, are these people here because of who I am, or they're trying to like take advantage of me, or if this relationship is just a gag and I am the joke, basically. Like these very negative thoughts, these two shows don't hesitate to explore. I'm really blown away by how like these characters work through their information and work through their struggles. So there's a significant lack of information each character have regarding each other. It vaguely reminds me of how like line of sight works in like video games during those like spy missions and stuff. Everyone has just enough detail to get 80% of the picture, and the rest relies on the characters like deduction, knowledge of the situation, intuition, and character relationship, things like that. Most importantly, the show does not feel like it's forcing things to happen. Events take place very naturally, and the behavior revolving this stuff makes me feel like I'm actually looking at a group of high school youth as opposed to like generic anime high school slop. In other words, these side characters serve a purpose besides glamorizing the MC or glazing the fuck out of the MC or just being comedic gags. They serve an actual purpose as characters. Now, on a side tangent, like, I want to talk about the bullying culture in Japan. Like, is it really that fucked up that it's breached into every single possible depiction of high school in Japan animes? Or Japanese animes, what the fuck am I saying? Like, this is such a realistic and believable story that it still included bullying. Now, although the bullying in Rampart of Ice is somewhat mild, and it doesn't go with the cliche of like having like bitches just scribbling bad words on the desk and like pouring water on the MC, nothing crazy like that. But it's still worth pointing out how even in like this great of a show, there was a need to showcase bullying. So it makes me wonder, like, what the fuck is the Japanese government doing to curb like these instances of bullying? In America, we often see shows of bullying, or we often see shows including aspects of bullying. But in reality, at least from my experience, I have a lot of friends who never mention bullying as part of their, school life. It could just be cultural differences. It could be something else entirely, but I just find it really strange. Episode 11 of Rampart of Ice is a super interesting like restructuring or rebuilding of our MC Koyuki's image. It turns out that our MC really was a unreliable narrator. It turns everything onto the back of his head. Like, prior to this episode, I took her as a character that's somewhat similar to Siletta Mercury from the Witch of Mercury anime series. As in, I find both Koyuki and Suleta being a little bit on the spectrum, you know, like unsociable. Their action is a little bit out there, their behavior is a little bit out there. So yeah, I took her as a character that's, again, on the spectrum. But turns out that her difficult time parsing social situations, having problematic communication styles, was the result of herself having a traumatic experience, not so that she's on the spectrum naturally. And she's in fact quite crafty as a character. She did something really kind of nasty looking back, right? And you would not imagine such a nice character now would do something like that. So again, it shows like character growth and that people can change over time. I really enjoy that aspect of the show. So for Rampart of Ice, I heavily recommend the show. Give it time to get rolling though, I would say that much. The first 3 episodes might feel a little bit cliche. Even for me, I thought it was going to be a bad show for the first 3 episodes. It really started picking up steam when like more characters get involved. I think it also is sort of a play by the author on our expectation of consumable products like this. And funnily enough, like the whole theme of this show is about expectations and prior experience. People are a composite of new experiences and old memories. How we interpret interpersonal relationships, hints, and body language differs from how we experienced them in the past. I don't know if it's intentional. If it is, cool. If not, it's whatever. I guess I could talk a little bit more about that. This show takes this idea that I mentioned earlier, and it makes you think a character is an asshole only to prove that that isn't the case, you know? The perfect example I could think of is like Minato, the orange hair guy. I thought he was going to be a problematic character, which, to be fair, he initially really was. But over time, he had character development despite never really having a chance to talk to the heroine directly. Rampart of Ice is probably one of handful of shows. I don't even recall when was the last time I did this much like image spamming. Like every few minutes watching this show, I can't help myself but to take like a screenshot and share it to my friends and servers and whatnot. Like just to complain about how this character is annoying, upsetting, how little this character is doing, whatnot. Now, let's talk about the second product of this author called You and I Are Polar Opposites. Once I finished Rampart of Ice, I'm like, I need more of this fucking sugar injected in my veins. And surprisingly, the author had a second show running earlier in the year called You and I Are Polar Opposites. These 2 shows share the same universe, actually. We can see the MC of Polar Opposites showing up in the backgrounds of Ramparts of Ice. Like in my notes here, I wrote, I don't know if authors draw inspiration from their own personal relationships or is simply observant of people. After watching Polar Opposites, I can say with confidence that the author is probably quite sociable and has had many friends who probably have children of their own, or you know, they just gathered that much story from hanging out with like, you know, youthful people or just whatever. These stories are very, very relatable. 1 time is a coincidence, 2 time is experience. The ability for me to feel empathy and a connection for these fictional characters, like the awkwardness of these teams, are so much more authentic than like fuck-ass rom-coms I've been watching that relies heavily on gags and forced misunderstandings. These 2 shows are quite popular because there's not much bullshit and unnecessary like misunderstandings. And even if there are, they usually clean it up really quickly. Now, I've been ranting, so I don't like recall if I said this already. The characters in these 2 shows are very self-aware, and they are operating with like lack of information. And they know themselves that, hey, they shouldn't make assumptions because they lack information. Like they catch themselves before they do something. And that's quite cool. Overall, very, very good show. I fucking love it. If you're a fucking loner, watch this show. It'll make you feel like an iota of happiness, trust me, okay? With all that aside, I really fucking hate the character Momoka. She shows up way later in the story, and she's a cunt. This character's in Ramparts of Ice. She's a bloody fucking cunt. However, thankfully, Rampart of Ice is confirmed to have a 2nd season coming up, so we could see how this bitch of a character gets handled. And Polar Opposite currently is airing its 2nd season, so I'm very happy. Great season, very chill. As an addendum, this is like pretty much post-editing at this point. Episode 7 of Polar Opposites got like quite deep. This is for season 1. One of the supporting girl characters in this show broke down the worries of another another supporting girl character by saying that whatever worry you have currently is something you're manifesting out of thin air, and you are pressuring yourself to face a non-existent problem. To phrase it differently, if you don't know why your heart is aching, in parentheses, from love, be it the situation or the person you're with, it matters not. Because in your current position, your lack of experience leaves you no other person to be concerned of than the only person you're talking to. I thought this was like cleverly paraphrased, but no, looking back on this, what the fuck am I saying? So, fuck, I gotta give context for what even is the scene. You have girl A, who is a antisocial girl, very shy, book nerd archetype. And then girl B, she is the more communicative, more supportive girlfriend. And she's observing how the nerdy girl is actually falling in love with a, you know, male character. As a avid anime consumer, I would say the scene is gonna go towards the dense supporting girl character, doesn't know they're falling in love, blah, 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 yada, yada. And surprisingly, the girl B, the sporty girl, she called her out on that, like, oh, why are you being so concerned? You don't have experience in any of this, so why are you worrying so much about a fictional situation? Right now, just keep your head or eye on what you can see and what you can think about. So for the nerdy girl, her mind space is this: I'm in an unprecedented situation. I am being pursued as a love interest. I am too shy and nerdy and lack confidence. That's her entire headspace. Now that leads to her thinking like, wait, is my heart pounding and aching from the fact that I'm nervous? That the fact that I'm in an unfamiliar and new situation? Is this feeling called love? Is it genuine? Do I actually like this male MC? Now that's a natural line of thinking, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is something that people would worry about. Then the sporty girl came in with some philosophical shit like, yo, since you don't have any information as a reference, you have no prior experience, who are you comparing your possible love interest to? You don't have a prior love interest. Why are you denying your feeling just because you haven't had something like this before? I think that's the gist of it. So on the screen for the past few minutes, you've probably been seeing these pictures of the actual like phrase spoken by the character. I'm just reading off of the notes I've taken, so there might be a discrepancy there. In any case, I'm just very touched by like the level of depth that I surprisingly saw from this show. So that's that. The rest of the video is just gonna be me ranting about random bullshit. Part one of that rant is about how there's like this specific genre or breed of video game related content out there that always open with the most unnecessary and like quote unquote deep intros. They try to pretend to be philosophical, but it's just so formulaic and like it's overdone that I don't know. It makes me lose interest and I close the video immediately if somebody does this. These videos tend to be like, why does something have to be this way? Nobody has ever imagined this. In your life, have you ever blah, blah, blah. And like the fucking video is just about a video game. Like, why does it have to be that deep? There's a level of overproduction that I sense from like these videos that make it like disingenuine, I guess. Like, why not just present the idea and then showcase the idea? These intros really only work, in my opinion, with like documentaries or true crime videos. Trying to apply it to a regular ass video game video just, I don't know, feels superficial, pretentious. It works for video essays related to video games, but you know, if the end result is just, here's something cool I came up with, or here's something cool I discovered / came across, then there's not really a need for padding like, do androids dream of electric sheep? I don't know. And the next thing I want to talk about is just C++ like random generator videos. Again, I am trying to learn C++. I'm a LARPer for a long time. I think it is my duty to actually learn the language. And today I try to like learn random number generation. I'm not sure why the videos on YouTube regarding this topic are so sloppy, but a lot of these videos just take the lazy route of showcasing rand and srand. These two functions are related to each other, but they're very outdated and old school, right? We're talking about like maybe 10 years, 8 years old at this point, these two functions. only a handful of videos actually talk about the random libraries and the random devices, which is like the modern way of doing number randomization. So there I was trying to understand what MT19937 is. That's like a, I guess, an algorithm used to create random numbers. So there's no videos on that. And I guess the reason being that, you know, since it's just an algorithm with a name, we don't really need a video. I don't know. So I'll do my part. I'll make a chapter in this video dedicated to MT19937. MT19937 is a random number generator in C++ based on the Mersenne Twister algorithm, which produces high-quality pseudo-random numbers. It is defined in the C++ standard library and is commonly used for generating random numbers in various applications. There we go. I did my part. All right, fellas. Have a good weekend. Have a great upcoming week. And I hope you all pass your tests, pass your exams, and have a very lovely date if you were to go out on a date. All right, anyways, catch y'all later.